Hi, I'm Emma.
And I'm Alex.
So I was in a meeting last week, and I watched someone, very smart person actually, sit there for 40 minutes without saying a word.
Okay.
And afterward, I asked him why. And he said, I didn't know how to say it right.
Not what to say, how to say it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see this all the time. Smart people who freeze. Not because they don't have ideas, but because they're stuck in their own heads trying to construct the perfect sentence.
And by the time they figure it out,
The conversation moved on.
right. So today we want to talk about overthinking. Specifically, why smart people overthink every sentence, and why that's killing their communication.
I think there are three fears driving this. And the first one is obvious, but no one talks about it. Smart people are terrified of looking stupid.
Which is ironic.
Completely. Because the thing that makes you look incompetent isn't saying something imperfect, it's saying nothing at all.
Right. But when you're smart, you've spent your whole life being right. You've been rewarded for having the right answer. So saying something that might be wrong or unclear or awkward, it feels dangerous.
Yeah, and in your head, you're running simulations. If I say this, will they think I don't understand the project? If I phrase it this way, will I sound too aggressive?
So you edit, and edit, and edit,
And then you just don't speak.
which is worse than anything you could have said.
The second fear is sounding too informal.
Oh, this one's huge, especially if English isn't your first language.
Yeah, you're constantly trying to gauge the room. Is this the right tone? Should I say hey or hello? Can I use contractions? Is this too casual for a client call?
And the problem is, there's no formula. Every situation is slightly different.
So people default to being overly formal, which makes them sound robotic.
Or they default to silence, because silence feels safer than getting the tone wrong.
But silence has a tone too.
What do you mean?
Silence says, I have nothing to contribute, even when that's not true.
Right, so you're sending a message either way.
Exactly.
The third fear is self-censorship, and this is the most damaging one,
How so?
because it happens before you even try. You have an idea, and immediately your brain starts questioning it. Is this smart enough? Is it obvious? Will people think I'm stating the obvious?
So you kill the idea before it leaves your mouth.
Yeah, and here's what's interesting. The ideas you censor are often the ones other people needed to hear.
Really?
Yeah, because if something feels obvious to you, it probably isn't obvious to everyone. You're censoring clarity.
I never thought about it that way.
Most people don't.
Okay, so let's talk about what actually happens when you overthink. Because I think people assume overthinking leads to better communication.
But it doesn't.
No, it leads to slower communication. Or no communication.
Right, because while you're crafting the perfect sentence, someone else is speaking. Someone who maybe has a less refined idea, but more confidence.
And that person moves the conversation forward.
Exactly. And they get remembered. You don't.
So the person who speaks imperfectly but clearly has more influence than the person who stays silent trying to be perfect.
Every single time.
Here's something I've noticed. People who overthink usually think they're being strategic. Like, I'm choosing my words carefully.
But really, they're just paralyzed.
Yeah, strategy has speed. Overthinking has hesitation.
And people can feel the difference.
They can. When you're strategic, you sound confident. When you're overthinking, you sound unsure.
Even if the words are the same.
Even if the words are exactly the same.
So here's the shift I think people need to make. And this is uncomfortable.
What is it?
Fluency is not about control. It's about tolerance.
Say more about that.
Okay, Most people think fluency means having perfect grammar, perfect phrasing, perfect timing, total control over their words.
Right.
But that's not fluency. That's rigidity.
So, what's fluency?
Fluency is being able to keep going even when things aren't perfect. It's tolerating awkward phrasing, tolerating a word you can't remember, tolerating imperfection in real time.
So, the person who stops mid-sentence to find the perfect word, that's not fluency.
No, that's control. And control kills flow.
Wow, that's a completely different way of thinking about it.
It is, and it's hard for smart people. Because smart people are trained to optimize everything.
But you can't optimize communication in real time.
No, you can only participate in it.
So, what does this look like in practice? Like, if someone's listening to this and recognizing themselves?
Yeah, what do they actually do differently?
I think the first thing is accepting that good enough is actually good.
Which feels terrible to say out loud.
It does, but in communication, good enough sent is better than perfect never sent.
Right. So if you're writing an email and you've rewritten the same sentence 4 times, just send it.
Even if it's not perfect.
Especially if it's not perfect.
The second thing is reducing the gap between thinking and speaking.
What do you mean?
Right now, there's probably a 3 to 5 second gap between when you think of something and when you say it, because you're editing.
And you want to shrink that gap.
Yeah, not eliminate it, but shrink it, so that your communication feels more immediate.
Which makes you sound more confident.
And more present.
Here's the reality. If you're overthinking every sentence, you're not protecting yourself. You're limiting yourself.
Yeah, because the cost of silence is higher than the cost of imperfection.
Always.
And people would rather work with someone who's clear and occasionally awkward than someone who's polished but invisible.
Because invisible doesn't move projects forward.
No, it doesn't.
So if you recognize yourself in this, if you've been sitting in meetings running simulations in your head instead of actually speaking,
try this. In your next meeting, commit to saying one thing. Just one.
It doesn't have to be brilliant. It doesn't have to change the conversation.
It just has to be said.
And notice what happens. Notice that people listen. Notice that your words were probably better than you thought.
And notice that the world didn't end.
Fluency is tolerance.
Not control.
If this hit home for you, subscribe. We're putting out conversations like this every week.
And drop a comment. Tell us, what's one sentence you've been overthinking lately?
We read all of them. And honestly, we'll probably tell you it's better than you think.
We usually do. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.